The Range Rover sub-brand has recently expanded to include vehicles like the Velar and the Evoque, but at its core, the two most important ones are always going to be the Range Rover Sport and the full-size Range Rover. Funny story, I was at the Chicago Auto Show this year at the Land Rover booth where they had this like off-road ride type of thing. I was talking to some of the reps. I was like, oh, can I get a ride in the full-size Range Rover? And they're like, full-size Range Rover? You mean the Range Rover? I was like, yes. So essentially they're like, the Range Rover, the full-size one is the true Range Rover. All the other ones are the lesser ones, the Sport, the Velar, or the Evoque. Today I am in a 2019 Range Rover Sport Supercharged V8 Dynamic, which is an absurdly long name. What it means is it is the kind of mid to upper tier level of the Range Rover Sport. It has a supercharged V8. You can get a Range Rover in a V6 diesel, you can get an inline 6-mile hybrid now, but the proper way to get it is with a big supercharged V8. 5-liter supercharged V8 in this Sport, Supercharged, Dynamic, whatever it's called, Dynamic. It makes 518 horsepower and 461 pound-feet of torque. That'll get it to 60 in 5 seconds flat. It has an 8-speed ZF automatic, obviously the very advanced Range Rover all-wheel drive system. If 518 horsepower is not enough for you in your Range Rover Sport, you can step all the way up to the Range Rover SVR, which has 575 horsepower. But today, with a supercharged V8, it is plenty of horsepower. I mean, it does 60 in 5 seconds flat. And a Range Rover, this is not a sports sedan, it's not an SUV, it's not a sports car, it's an SUV. You'll notice this is a mid-cycle updated model. So on the outside, the most obvious things you're going to see are the new headlights, the new tail lights, the new front grille, the new front fascia. It's all been updated. It's nice, sharper design, LED lights throughout. It looks really, really nice. I'm a huge fan of it. As a dynamic trim vehicle, you got gloss black, blacked out trim everywhere, the nice wheels, also red brake calipers behind those wheels. The Sport is a little more of a, sporty looking vehicle, less of the majestic giganticness of the full-size big Range Rover. The Sport is supposed to be, it sits a little bit below, but a little more better handling, hence the Sport name. On the interior, that's also huge updates were done, and that's, I think, the most important part. Land Rover has kind of struggled with interiors recently, and that's not like the materials are nice. The materials have always been excellent. Craftsmanship has been good enough. It's the technology that has really, really lagged behind. Now, it is they've all been advanced in terms of the all-wheel drive systems with the air suspension and the abilities that the technology provides for the SUV, but infotainment has just pretty much sucked. Been laggy, glitchy, horrendous. Now you get this new InTouch Pro with these dual touchscreens in the middle that control everything from your climate to your seat settings to your vehicle settings, your modes, auto stop start. You can adjust your cooling. On the higher end models, you get massage and all the fancy stuff. Top here can be reconfigured with navigation, your phone, your multimedia your multimedia infotainment type of stuff. The cameras are a lot better now. It is very sunny out right now. I'm gonna put this sun visor down. But this new system looks really nice. You can kind of adjust the tilt of the screen to avoid glare. It's implemented nicely. It started off on, I believe, the Velar, and now it kind of has moved its way across the Range Rover lineup, the full Land Rover lineup, actually. Now, the owner of this car has had good experience with them. Sticking with Land Rover's, reputation, some of my friends have had issues with glitchiness of the system. Nothing that wasn't fixed with just a software update or a simple turn off the car, turn it back on after a couple hours. But for example, I use this one because it was kind of funny to me. My friend John, his Supercharged autobiography, refused to let him turn off auto stop start. He would hit the little button on the touchscreen and it would light up orange, off, and then it would turn itself back on after a second. And you do it again, and it would turn itself back on. So pretty much the car refused to let him turn off the auto stop start. It had to make him be fuel efficient. Just these little weird electrical issues. But if you're just talking about looking at it, it's beautiful. Amazing graphics, great touchscreens. I'm a big fan of how it looks. One of my coolest things I like is it's got the climate control rotary knobs kind of integrated into the screen with another little sub-screen showing your temperature inside. I think that's a pretty cool little touch. So this is a non-SVR model, so you don't get the active exhaust. It still sounds really good. It's still sunny out, sorry. It still sounds really, really good. And it pushes you back and you launch yourself forward. How does it drive? Well, talk about ride first, because that's kind of the first things that come to mind with a Range Rover. I spent most of my time in the full-size, like autobiography, trim level, the really luxurious ones, and those are really comfortable. Somehow Land Rover manages to engineer them in a way that despite riding on 22-inch wheels, they feel like you're wafting along the street on a cloud. It's so comfortable. Nothing disturbs you. With the Sport, the suspension is a little bit firmer. You also feel like the vehicle's not as big. I mean, overall, you can see it's kind of smaller, but the way they tune it up, everything is a little bit tighter. I'd imagine SVR is even more beastly and fun to drive. But I think this, I would say, okay, it kind of deserves the Sport name, even though as an SUV, can it truly be that sporty? The transmission is great, 8-speed automatic. I'm a big fan of it in almost all the applications. Nice shifts. This thing has all the off-road modes as you would expect in a Land Rover Range Rover. It's very smart now. You can push it down, kind of go to auto, and let it figure out its own thing. It uses all the sensors and reading the terrain and cameras to figure out what's going on. It can automatically select yourself into sand mode or whatever mode you're in. Pretty much, I think the purpose of it is you'll never get stuck in a Range Rover. And if you're going to get stuck in your Range Rover, you're probably A, you'd have the wrong tires and they're bald, or B, everything's going to get stuck unless you're driving a Unimog. In practicality, I doubt many people actually use their Land Rovers in any sort of off-road capacity, especially Range Rover line. I mean, unless you have a Defender, I don't think you're taking it off-roading. And that's the big thing. It's the knowledge that you can do it, and it is doable, and sort of a status symbol. I don't think people are taking their $140,000 autobiographies off-roading. But the practical application is, if it does snow, we live in crappy Michigan, you know you'll be fine. You can get your way home safely. If you happen to be going on a hiking trip or something, you're going camping and there's some gravel or dirt up a hill, you know it'll handle it without a problem. Do people take these off-roading? I'm sure there's some people do. Some people take G-Wagons off-roading too. But in reality, I don't think many people will actually truly utilize the capabilities of this, and it's impressive. With the controlled differentials and the various cameras. I know Land Rover has this new system where it makes uses the camera angles to make the hood like disappear. It's truly one of the most technologically advanced off-road vehicles available today for public use. Something Land Rover really excels at doing is combining both the luxury and the off-road ability. So we've talked about the off-road ability, but you could get that in a Jeep Wrangler. You can get a Rubicon that'll do everything this can do for a lot less money and potentially better in some situations. Luxury is where Land Rover really excels at. And even though this is a Sport, not the full-size autobiography, there's a very, very long list of things. Technology-wise, you have lane keep assist, brake assist, everything you expect that a modern, almost six-figure luxury vehicle would come equipped with. You also have things like ionizers and just other things that you would expect to find in a very expensive spa, not in a vehicle. Air ionizers and all this sort of fancy stuff there. Surfaces are heated and massaged, things like that. That's what you get with a Land Rover. Now, let's talk about value. Not a cheap vehicle. It's a Range Rover, and it's not like a lower tier little V6 or straight 6 Range Rover. It's a supercharged V8 with over 500 horsepower. These things start at around $86,000, $86,500. Option up, they get close to $100,000. That is a lot of money to spend on an SUV, but you do get a lot for it. You get all-wheel drive, very advanced technology systems, luxury, the status, over 500 horsepower. There aren't many things that I dislike about a Land Rover, and having never owned one, I've only heard stories and read things online, as most of you guys have. The only complaints you would possibly come up with are going to be the reliability, and owner has had an excellent reliability with this vehicle so far. So back to the value standpoint. Compared to an SVR, it's a great value. SVR is almost $30,000 minimum more brand new than this. And what do you get? A carbon fiber hood, a couple badges, an extra 55 horsepower, and a louder exhaust. That's nice. Is it worth it? A G63 AMG, even a regular G-Wagon is going to be a lot more than one of these. G63, I just drove one last weekend, $180,000 sticker. That's almost twice the price of one of these. So in that case, the value on this thing is looking excellent. If you compare it to an X5, I drove a $100,000 X5, fully loaded, brand new X5 with the V8. That was amazing. I think the interior on that was better than this. The potential reliability might be better. Now we can't comment on that given the fact that I haven't owned either of them for 30,000 miles. I think the prestige and the looks of this are going to be superior to the BMW. The new GLE is supposed to be amazing, but you get the point. There are a lot of options out there. There are tons to pick from. You pick the Land Rover because you want to have something that's not the typical German choice. I would say you want to stand out, but we were in Birmingham, Michigan over the weekend, and I swear in that 2-hour time span I saw probably 75 different Land Rovers. So you won't necessarily stand out there, but there's a reason why people pick them, because it is appealing. You have history to the brand. You know the vehicle's going to be competent. You know it's going to be luxurious. This one is fast. I like it. I love the way it looks. I'm really interested to hear how Preston, the owner, does with the reliability, the overall experience of it so far. With 9,000 miles, it's been great. We did a really cool ownership video, talked a lot about it, covered all sorts of different topics on why you picked this thing and what he likes about it and what you possibly don't like about it. But I think in summary, the Range Rover Sport Supercharged V8 Dynamic has way too long of a name. I think it's a nice sweet spot in value because you get an upgrade over the smaller engines. You get that power, you get some of that luxury there. I think it's a better to drive vehicle than the full-size one. If you don't have a big family, you need to put kids in the back, and need max luggage space. Actually, I think the Sport comes with 3 rows. The full-size one, you can't get it. I think it's a little bit better to drive. It's definitely a lower price point, so maybe your first entry into this type of luxury SUV, it's a very, very good choice. I would love to get this head-to-head with a BMW X5 and really compare them directly, but as an individual vehicle, I am very impressed with how the Sport V8 handles and sounds. Oh, all cars should come with supercharged V8s. Not all. Supercharged or turbocharged V8s, or everything should have a big engine. Oh, this is cool. There we go. Hope you guys like this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Make sure you check out the ownership video that we filmed together. Thanks for watching.